welcome.
Sure, I'll be happy to. You want me to
Wonderful.
do it now? Is the meeting already on, or are you?
No, we're just preparing. We're just preparing at this point, and then at a point in the program, I'll introduce you and mention that you're joining us, and just turn it over to you to say whatever you'd like.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Exciting. Very exciting.
Is this you guys' first meeting like this for the whole club, or have you done it before?
This is our second. So we had 60 members attend last week, and the meeting went very well.
Good.
So we're excited today and hope that we can maybe reach 70 members today.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Barb, if it's okay with you, I think at about 12:03 we'll call the meeting to order.
That's perfect. I already started recording just to be safe. So
great. I see names of Rotarians who are joining us are coming in by the second. So welcome everyone. It's 11:57, and we'll begin here in about 5 minutes.
Jim, you may have noticed we have some folks joining us from other clubs.
Yes.
Particularly AM members.
This is crazy. Look at all these.
I just see, and that's,
we have a section of the meeting dedicated to visiting Rotarians. So we'll just have our visiting Rotarian guests introduce themselves during the introductory part of the meeting, Gary. But yes, thanks for pointing that out. Welcome everyone that's just joining us. I have 11:58. We have new joinees in the meeting here coming on by the second. We're going to begin in about 4 minutes. So sit tight or grab your cheeseburger, and we'll begin here shortly.
So lunch is not provided today.
Wow, if we could do that virtually, we'd be all over it.
Good.
District governor.
Welcome to everyone that's logged on here in the past minute or so. I have that's just about noon. We're going to give our members about 3 more minutes to log on. We'll begin at 12:03. My participant count here is well over 40, so we're quickly heading out to the 60 range, or hopefully more than we had last week. So exciting. Thanks everyone for joining.
Some estimates issues with the Mexico or with the Aztec Empire, and so he's eventually able to take over.
Reading the other night.
Again, welcome to everyone that's just joined us within the last minute or so. We're going to begin the meeting here in about 2 minutes. My participant counter says we just got past 50. So thanks everyone to joining us. And last week, I think our peak participants was 60, and we reached that number at about 10 after 12. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes here. to let others join us, and we'll begin shortly.
Your commitment
I'll move it forward, then you can.
created, and in turn, taking that gift and sharing it with others. And so we're going to continue, you know, while all of us are in kind of this
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. TV is not working?
study together. Hopefully you've received some of the
And so people may want to mute your microphones right now if you could, just so that we're not kind of hearing some of the extra noise in your home.
Any of you who are on this Zoom with me know just how effective, impacting live delivery of
All
real
right, well,
colors.
in about 60 seconds, we'll begin.
You're right.
We are getting some feedback from televisions or perhaps folks that are listening to other meetings or podcasts. So
And
if you've got
Barb, as the
noise going on in
host,
the
you might be
background,
able to mute everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to mute all,
Feverishly
and then
working
you
on
can
what
unmute
I'm
yourself.
affectionately calling the Real Colors Virtual Delivery Playbook.
Okay, Jim, can you unmute yourself and then start the meeting?
excellent. All right, Barb, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, I'll assume others can as well. I'll give it about 30 more seconds here. I'm going to do a quick count of participants. All right, yeah, 55. Wonderful. As I mentioned last week, we eclipsed, we hit the 60 mark. So for a fun goal this week, I thought wouldn't it be nice if we got to 70 members and keep spreading the word that this method of meeting is working, and hopefully we'll continue to have increased participation. With that, I think I will go ahead and begin. I'm very excited about today's meeting for a variety of reasons, but I want to state here at the outset of the meeting that the goal of today's meeting is to have everyone at the end of this hour leave with a renewed sense of pride in what Rotary is doing across the world today as we speak. If you're anything like me, you're feeling cooped up and a little bit depressed that first of all, we can't even meet in person, so our committees aren't being able to do their work. We can't be out and about in our communities and our world like we normally would. So in a way, that kind of can get you down at some point. But today's program is an excellent reminder that the work that's been done by Rotarians everywhere for decades, including in this club, is affecting many people and benefiting many people today. One of the shining examples of that is some of the projects that Rotary District 6000 has done across the globe, and our program today will be a great example of that. So even though we aren't able today as we speak to be out and about doing things, it's going to be a great reminder today of the many things that have been done by Rotarians in our club and Rotarians across the globe lives on and is doing great things as we speak. So it's going to be a fun meeting, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next comes one of the fun parts of the program here. As you know, we begin every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's not quite the same virtually, but we're going to do our best anyway. So for those that are able, please stand and join me to begin the meeting.
Stay healthy. Do what you need to do to protect yourself, protect your family. Take care of
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, justice for all.
Justice for all.
You may be seated.
Okay, Jim, I'm going to mute all again, and you should unmute yourself.
Thank you, Barb. Today's meeting of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club is hereby called to order. I'd like to begin the meeting by actually having Barb lead us in some Rotary, some Zoom tips. We did this last week and it went really well, but it appears as we have several members that are joining us for the first time today. So Barb, would you please give us some tips on how to best navigate through this Zoom meeting today?
Sure. Thanks and welcome everybody. So one of the things, especially for you people that are on a computer, you may see up in your top right-hand corner something that says speaker view or gallery view. Now, this could look different on an iPad, and it definitely looks different if you're on a phone, okay? So, but if you go to speaker view,
Pete Wallace.
you will only see the person speaking. If you
I
go
don't want them to see me. That shows that it's not seeing me.
If you go to the gallery view, you will see a whole bunch of little images of us. And so we're all there. Everybody can smile and wave to everybody. And then you can see everyone. Now, the one thing I recommend is that when we have programs, I recommend that you go to speaker view so that you really see what the speaker is. If the speaker is talking, you will always see that person. When we do PowerPoint slides like we have today, you will only see the PowerPoint slides, but you will see small gallery pictures off to the side, okay? So in addition, you should look to find what is called the chat button. And for you on a computer, it's going to be down below. And in that chat button, if you click that, you can actually type a message. And what I would appreciate is if all of you would type your name in. This way I can keep track of attendance. Just type in your name and press enter. And then that way your attendance is in there. In addition, for those of you, if you look, there is also a button at the bottom called Manage Participants, or it says Participants. I manage the participants. You are the participants. So if you click on that Participants button, you'll see that you have the opportunity to click a button that says Raise Your Hand. And we're going to use that tool to introduce visiting Rotarians, to introduce guests, and to do questions for our program, okay? So through the course of the meeting, we want you to have your microphone muted except for when you ask a question. And then we also recommend that when it comes time for the program that you actually might want to think about muting your camera. Now you can choose to have your camera open. Last week I thought I could mute your cameras, but I actually can't. So if you are not going to pay attention like you should mute your camera, okay? So those are the basic tips. I'm going to come back and remind you of that right before the program begins. You can also do a chat directly to me if you have a certain question or anything, and I'll try to keep it going. Okay, thanks.
Great. Thank you very much, Barb. And I just want to let the group know that we couldn't do this without Barb's leadership and guidance here. So Barb, thanks so much. You're doing a great job. And I promise to pay attention during today's meeting. Wonderful. We're going to start out with a bang here. Let's get going with the meeting. We have a distinguished guest with us today. District Governor Erna Moraine is participating in today's Zoom conference call. And I'd like to have us begin the meeting with a few words from Erna about any updates on what's going on in District 6000, Erna, or tips from what you're hearing from other clubs. How are other clubs getting through this time and holding their meetings, and any other updates you'd like to provide. So Erna, if you could make sure your phone is unmuted, I would like to turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, President Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity to address the members of the club. Really appreciate the communication that we have had in the last couple of weeks. Devin, thank you so much in speaking in Dutch to me. Really appreciate to keep my language up every now and then. It's really good to see what clubs are doing to stay in touch with each other. And as we know, we really, as Rotarians, need to communicate and be in touch and stay healthy, because there is so much that we can do to help those who are affected by the virus. Sometimes the need may be far away, but with this, the need may be very close to home. So to really do something as Rotarians is very important. As far as the meetings are concerned, I am delighted to see that you, as such a large club, are meeting. You are not the largest that I have participated in. The Des Moines AM Club had 95 participants the other day that I joined. I had never been on such a large scale in a meeting. And Barb, I really like how you explained some of the things. What I also needed to learn was that you have different screens now. So we're not all on one screen. You may want to scroll to your next screen to see everybody who's on the meeting. I don't know exactly how all of that works, but I know you can scroll or point to the next meeting. As you can see, I also have different backgrounds, which I think is a really, really neat feature. You can change them as you go along. I will not go into that, but I do want to update you a little bit about what I hear from other clubs, because it is very interesting to me to see how people have embraced the digital communication, which we have encouraged from the beginning on, because for club committees, for board meetings, we all know we don't have to be in person at all those meetings. So now, due to circumstances, we also need to have our club meetings this way. And it has been interesting to me to see how some of the clubs, small clubs with an older population, have embraced this. And they have contacted me a couple of times and say, okay, how do we do this Zoom? Now, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm learning every day. But it really doesn't take that much to join a Zoom meeting. And what I've been telling is, if people want to communicate with either their children or their grandchildren, which is usually the first ones they want to communicate with before they do it with Rotarians and friends, get that iPad out and join and see your grandchildren and see your children. I have a daughter in Saudi Arabia, and frequently we just click the link and here we are and can communicate. So I'm delighted that the clubs are embracing it. Now, of course, this is not going to replace our club meeting, but at least it will tell us we do not always have to meet in person. The district governor doesn't always have to be in person. I could not drive to Iowa City today and join your meeting after I had 2 or 3 other meetings this morning, but I can join you now. So that's really good to see. What are clubs doing? What I hear is that some of the clubs, I hear some of the comments about dues. And I don't know how all the clubs are doing, because not everybody communicates. But what I'm hearing from some is that they keep the dues in place. Everybody still needs to pay the district dues. But give some people the option, because some people may lose their job because of this. Some people are definitely in hardship. So give them the option whether they pay for the meals. We don't have meals, so we don't have to pay for the meals in most clubs. And maybe we reserve that money and do some other things with that. And we are coming out hopefully early next week to the presidents with some suggestions what the clubs can do and how we can best utilize those resources. So those are some of the things we are thinking about. Again, what we're hearing is wonderful. People are communicating, they are talking to each other, they're doing things, and they're learning. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here today and join you and see what's happening in your club and your community.
Great, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll get it back to you.
Thank you very much. It makes us feel connected. That's the whole point of the meetings, but I appreciate you giving us an update and help us feel connected to other Rotary clubs. We'll take the 95 participants in the Des Moines Club as a challenge. I see we got up to over 65, so we're getting there. But thanks again, Erin. We sure appreciate your joining our meeting today. And please feel free to join us anytime. We would love to hear from you. And anytime you're on, we'd just love to have a few comments from you. So thanks again for joining us. Next, we also see several visiting Rotarians that are joining our meeting today from other clubs. What we'd like to do is, for those visiting Rotarians that are in attendance, please check out the raise hand button, as Barb pointed out. You can click that button now, and would turn over to Barb to run this part of our meeting. If Barb, you would recognize our visiting Rotarians in order that they raise their hands, that would be great. And then visiting Rotarians, if you could just state your name and your club, we sure appreciate it. Barb?
Okay, great. Thank you very much. As of right now, let's see, I don't think I see any hands raised, have I? But I know that Mark Ruggeberg's out there. Aren't you, Mark? Want to say hello?
No, if he can just follow directions. You could repeat how to raise your hand. Hello, everyone. I am from the Iowa City Monday Noon Club. It's nice to see everyone.
Thank you,
Great.
Mark, for joining us. Did I see Chris Knapp's on as well?
Yeah, Kristen Vernette Knapp are here from the Rotary Club of Iowa City AM.
Wonderful. Vernette, welcome. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
I also see Jim Peterson is here. Jim, would
Hi,
you like to
everyone.
say hello?
Good to be with you this afternoon from beautiful sunny Mexico here. It's all sleight of hand though.
Very good. Thanks
Wonderful.
for joining us.
And again, if you need to know where, you go to the participants button. That's where you find the button to raise your hand. Kieran Cook is here as well. Kieran, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having this meeting, Barb and the New Rotary. And we're going to use you as a model, and hopefully we'll have one soon. So I'm glad to be at the Rotary New meeting.
Hey, Casey, welcome. Great to see you. And I should mention any of our visiting Rotarians. I'm sure that Barb would be more than happy to answer questions. Barb, I don't mean to commit you to there, but you're doing such an outstanding job. We'd love to have you share some of your knowledge.
I think that's what they call it when you get voluntold to do something, right? So, and then Kate Soika is here. Kate, would you like to say hello?
Okay.
All you need to do is find your unmute button. There you go.
Thank you so much for inviting the Iowa City AM Rotary Club to your meeting today. We appreciate it. So thank you. Great to be here.
Welcome, Kate.
Great.
All right, I'd like to open it up to guests. Even if you have spouses, other visiting Rotarians, if I've switched gears here too quickly, Barb, I apologize, but
that's okay.
Other visiting Rotarians or guests, please feel free to either raise your hand or we'll give you a space after the hand raising too, if you'd like to just chime in. Barb?
Yep, I think we have one more visiting Rotarian in the Pasha household. Gary, and I'm going to unmute you. There you are, Nancy. You want to say hello?
Yep. Hello, everyone. And I also see Phil Peterson from the AM Club.
Great.
Yeah, I think Phil is our speaker today. And then do we have anybody who has a guest that they want to introduce? If so, could you please raise your hand?
Family members and pets are welcome to be introduced.
Got it. I do have Gary Pasha has raised his hand. Gary?
Barb, I'm as confused as Phil is. Is he the program today or am I? And Jen Peterson?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Jim and you together, I believe.
All right.
Okay.
Wrong Peterson, but that's okay.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep track of, over 60 people.
I understand.
Great. I think that's it for visitors, Jim.
Excellent. Welcome to all our visitors and visiting Rotarians. We're pleased to have you on the meeting. Next, I'd like to go to a part of the meeting that we've just started in conjunction with our Zoom meetings. Leaves a little void there. We don't have greeters. We can't see each other in person and enjoy our meals together. So to do our best to replace that social part of a meeting, we've added a segment called Rotary Moment of Positivity and Gratitude. Tice Winkleblack last week did a nice job of beginning this for us. And today, our Rotarian that's going to give us our Rotary Moment of Positivity and Gratitude is Joe Venz. Joe, I'd like to turn the meeting over to you.
Yeah, you bet. Appreciate the opportunity here. Can everybody hear me? Am I good?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Yes. So I took some time this week just to think about, after Jim had asked things that I'm grateful for in this season, and he told me I have 1 minute. So I came up with 5 things that I'm going to rattle through here as I thought about, the blessings that we have right now. So the first thing that came to mind is I am grateful that I was reminded early in this that this is going to be a season that we look back at forever. And so obviously this is a monumental moment in all of our lives. And so I think about, 40 years from now or 50 years from now, my grandchildren asking me, God willing, that takes place, what this season looked like and how I showed up. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to reflect on that and try and have a positive outlook as we go through this. So grateful for that reminder. Grateful number 2 for the opportunity to learn this season. I think if there's ever a time that we are quarantined and having to stay safe by staying in, it's a great time and a great opportunity to learn just with all the access that we have. So whether that's podcasts, audiobooks, or just access to the internet and articles, the time that we've slowed down, I think creates a window for learning. So grateful for that. Number 3 was just the requirement to slow down a little bit. And what that's allowed me to do is just spend more time and dive deeper with my family here at home. And so I think that's the positive outlook at being most to you. So I'm certainly grateful for that opportunity, which is number 3. Number 4 is just a gratefulness for the reminder not to take our routine and day in and day outs for granted. And so when I think about going back to work and interacting with coworkers, or having holidays like this upcoming Easter weekend, being able to have that in person with family, or simply attending a Rotary meeting like we're doing today and being able to shake hands and have conversations in person, not taking for granted those opportunities. So that was number 4 for me. And then number 5, I think this will resonate with our whole group, but just the opportunity to serve in this season. I know that's a commonality between all of us as Rotarians, is just having a gratitude for the opportunity to serve. And so whether that's through donations or sharing of resources, I recognize that I'm not impacted by this in the same way that many people are. And so just a gratitude for that, and the ability to serve in this season is something that I don't take for granted. So appreciate the opportunity, Jim, and the board to just share a little bit, and wishing you all health and wellness in this season. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Very uplifting comments. You did a great job. I think this is quickly becoming one of my favorite parts of these meetings, and I appreciate your uplifting comments. You gave us also a great segue there. Speaking of serving in this season, we're going to transition next to our announcements part of the meeting. I'd like to have Tricia Smith begin our announcements. Tricia, what is the latest that the United Way is doing, and how can we as Rotarians be a part of it?
Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Joe. That was awesome. I love that moment. Great job. I just wanted to kind of highlight a few things as we continue to move through this journey that's really been incredibly interesting, because there is no playbook to follow. We're continuing to connect with nonprofits in our community as to what their needs are, and reaching out to people to connect those needs to people who may be able to assist with their resources. So we still are looking for some supports for, I know Shelter House has put out a list, as well as DVIP has put out a list for household items and things like that to support their clients in their transitions. Also beginning April 1st, which believe it or not was only 8 days ago, we opened up the ability to distribute funds out of our Community Disaster Relief Fund. And in those 8 days, we've distributed about $16,850 and change to 16 families with 30 children. And so the need is definitely real. And these are all people who are directly affected by COVID-19 because of loss of income due to job-related loss or some other related loss, but again, directly related to COVID-19. We also are continuing up on our communication, sending out that daily weekday email to assist with informing everybody. I'll give you a sneak peek tomorrow. We're centering all on senior assistance. We've learned of a senior chat group that's available for any anxiety seniors are having. We've also learned of a senior technology support group that's available. Simply by dialing a number, they can help you out with all of these new technologies things mentioned up by our governor there, that there's a lot to learn here in a very short amount of time. And so we're so pleased to be able to connect you with those resources. Again, I'll just throw out there, if you're interested in receiving those daily emails, send me a private chat, and I'll certainly grab your email or send you mine, and we can connect that way as well. But thank you, Jim, for the opportunity to share, and we will keep you up to date with everything. But just once again, United Way and all of our staff here, we can't thank you all enough. You've been connected with us. You've reached out to us. You've been volunteering. You've been supporting us. and supporting this community, therefore. And just thank you so much for everything you all are doing.
Thank you, Tricia. I really appreciate it. If you are at home and wondering what's the best way to get involved or to help out, my feeling is that United Way has become the central command in our area for as the coordinating body for all of these efforts, food banks, everything you can think of. And the daily emails that Tricia's been sending out, I just highly recommend. It's a way to keep up with the latest news and to see how you can help. So I'm also very proud of the close connection between our Iowa City Noon Rotary Club and our United Way folks. I feel like our groups work together so well in so many ways. And Tricia, thanks for your announcement today. I sure appreciate it. I'd like to continue with the announcements. If you are able, please raise your hand if you'd like to give a Rotary related announcement today. I see Eric Weiler on the phone here. So Eric, do you happen to have any updates for us on grants by chance?
Yes, well, thank you, Jim. Hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to give a quick update on our opportunity for a Rotary District Community Service Grant. As many of us know, one of the great parts of Rotary is giving back and supporting our community. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen so everyone can look at the information that I am looking at. Hopefully everyone can see the Rotary District Community Service Grant slide. And this great opportunity we have, these are projects that align with the Rotary Foundation mission, and it's very important that these projects have Rotarian involvement. If you remember some of our recent projects are the Rotary Kerber Heart Safe Community Initiative. We did the Birdhouse Hospice Home Outdoor Improvements last year. In the past, we've done Rotary bicycle racks around our community. So this is a great opportunity for us to give back. And if you're interested, we ask that you email me a 1 to 2 page summary. We want to know what is your project, what's the benefit to the community, how will Rotary be involved, and your budget. And if you could email that to me at eweiler@kirkwood.edu by April 27th. The very next day on April 28th, our Rotary Board is going to meet. We're going to choose one project and we'll submit that project to the Rotary District. So this is a great opportunity. And if anyone has any more questions, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. And thanks for continuing this work despite our changing situation here. It's great to see that the work of Rotary continues despite our inability to get together. So thanks again, Eric. Barb, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you now. Are there others that have raised their hand for announcements?
I don't have any other hands raised. Is there anyone else that wants to make an announcement to the group? If so, please raise your hand. And if not, oh, we do have one from Colleen Bell. Colleen, if you'd like to unmute your microphone.
Hey, it's actually Ryan Bell.
Oh, Ryan, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just using my wife's account. My quick announcement is that these meetings are easier than ever to invite people to. And I failed today to get a few guests here, but really all you got to do is send the link out to friends of yours who maybe have had other excuses for not coming to our lunches. And let's get them a little taste of Rotary here over the next few weeks. I think it could be a cool opportunity, especially as well as these are going. So again, hats off to Barb for making this run really smoothly. So invite people and hopefully we can break that Des Moines record next week.
Excellent. I second that motion, Ryan, and it's very easy to do. I would say also that folks that haven't been to a meeting before, we have 300 members and 65 are currently listening right now. For folks that maybe find it too difficult to get in the car, drive across town, and then following a meeting, drive back to work, these are quicker and more efficient. So I also hope that we can keep our numbers going up. This is great. If there's no further announcements, Barb, let's check one more time. Let's open up the floor one more time. Any other announcements?
We do have one from Devin Van Holstein.
I just wanted to make sure, if you didn't see it in the chat, Mark Nolte said would like to make a big thank you to all the local bankers who have been working around the clock to help local businesses get their PPP loans submitted. So thanks to everybody who's doing that.
Great. Mark, thanks for your comment. And Mark, if you're on, is there anything else you'd like to add or anything you'd like to state with anything else? Mark? Okay.
I got nothing. Thank you for.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
I did not shower yet today, so I'm not public on the video.
Hey, it's another benefit of meeting via Zoom. You don't
Exactly.
have to shower. I've got this sport coat on and shorts. No, I wish I did. Maybe earlier in the week I would have worn shorts, but wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I'm excited next to transition here into our program. I want to maybe instead of doing a formal introduction of Gary, I'm going to leave Gary the ability to kind of introduce his program. But I wanted to just reiterate what I said at the outset of our meeting today. You know, it's a downer to not be able to meet. It's a downer to not be able to be out and about in our communities and our world. But Rotary is very, very active as we speak. And no better example of that than today's program, what Gary and Jim are going to visit with us about. And I'd like to give credit for this to Rotarians in our club and across the district and throughout Rotary International that have done so much for years to establish these programs and these projects and these efforts that carry on whether we're meeting or not. So Gary, thanks for kicking us off today. I'm going to turn the program over to you.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, Gary, you're actually muted.
I think I'm okay now.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, if I may, I'd like to just address the group and say that think about the support group that we have right here. All these folks attending this virtual meeting. Beyond that, I'd like to just introduce our speaker by making a few comments. Our Noon Club has a rich tradition of developing and sustaining international service projects. Examples of this over the last 30+ years include FAMSCO, the Fire and Medical Supply Company operating in Mexico, Central America, South America, Xicotepec, which we'll talk about further today, a project in Mexico, Iowa Most, which is a surgical outreach mission in Guatemala that is continuing to this day, the Ponseti method, which is one of our most recent, and there are others that I may miss, but it gives you a flavor for the amount of international service that has come out of our club and expanded across our district. All of these have grown to include other clubs in District 6000 and around the world. To tell us about our Xicotepec project today is Jim Peterson. Jim is a good friend who embodies all that is good about Rotary. He's one of the first persons in our district, 6000, to be awarded Rotary's highest individual award, the Service Above Self Award. A bit of personal perspective on the Xicotepec project before turning it over to Jim. In 2001, in anticipation of a year as district governor and seeking a signature project to do good in the world, Nancy and I wanted to create a sustainable program which would provide an opportunity for youth to use their spring break to be of service to others. Selecting the location of Xicotepec, Mexico is a story in itself, best told at a later date and perhaps could be told by past District Governor Ray Mustin, who actually wrote the grant that got us started to get this Xicotepec program going. Again, our speaker today was on board with this effort from day one. His fluency in Spanish, long association with friends in Mexico and Central America made him a natural to lead this initiative, and he's been the heart, soul, and voice of the Xicotepec project for more than 19 years. Our presentation format today does not make for a welcoming round of applause, but I want to make sure Jim knows how much Nancy and I and all Rotarians appreciate all he has done to make our dream a reality. He has built Xico into something beyond our dreams. Thank you, Jim, and take it away.
Let's see here. I think I'm unmuted and hopefully I've shared my screen. Can everybody see the slide, the first slide there? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, Gary, thanks a lot for that introduction. President Jim, it's a pleasure to be here. Erna, it's an honor to have you as part of the audience today. Before I start, I want to say that trying to boil down 18 years into a 10 or 12 minute presentation was a challenge for me, and I did the best to just put together some representative projects and accounts for this presentation. And in particular, I regret not being able to name all of the people that have contributed to this project, because there's a lot of them, and many of them are in the Iowa City Club. But if I did that, that would be the whole presentation right there. So let's get going here. All right, I can't seem to move to the next page. Here we go. Oops. Yeah, so as Gary said, this project goes back to 2001. And the original discovery grant that Ray Mustin got was what funded a trip for 6 of us down to Xicotepec to spend some time with the Rotarians there and try to find a way to work together. And it took about a year to put together that first project team trip, 49 people, in March 2003. And with the exception of this year, there has been a project team that's gone to Xicotepec every year during spring break. And if you add up the numbers of people on all those project teams, it's more than 1,000 people. And more than half of those project team members have been college students or high school students under 30, more women than men, a wide range of ages. And since 2007, the service learning class at the University of Iowa has been an important part of the project. And as you can see on this slide, there have been students from a lot of different disciplines that have come to Xicotepec to carry out their projects. Over the years, we've kind of fallen into this annual rhythm, and there's actually about 9 months of fairly constant activity, and then we take a little rest in the summer. But beginning about mid-September, we ask for applications. In usually late in October, a small group of a planning team goes to Xicotepec to look at potential projects and make decisions along with the Xicotepec Rotary Club. By early November, we've got all the applications. We let team members know about the first of the year. There are payments to collect. We get everybody together in February to try to get them prepared for the trip. Then there's the trip during spring break week. After the trip, we have high school students write about their experience, and some of them get partially reimbursed by our district for their costs of participating. The service learning students usually give a public presentation in early May, and then it's time to do a post-mortem on the year and move on to the next year. Since we didn't go to Xicotepec this year, I just put this slide together to give you an idea of the size of the project team, the cost per person, some of the travel logistics, and lodging, some of those considerations that have to be taken into account. And part of the trip is also one night in Mexico City. But other than that, everybody is lodged and fed while they're in Xicotepec. So this is one of the relationships that we've had for a long time, ever since that first visit in 2001, when we went to see the Casa Hogar Victoria, an orphanage. And when we saw it in 2001, it was really a very grim, sad place to visit. And over the years, with the support of the Xicotepec Rotary Club and District 6000 Rotarians, it has totally changed this orphanage, and it's a place that provides a safe and loving environment for about 50 children. They often need new washing machines, and here's Carol Merrick of the West Des Moines Rotary Club, and Hira Mustafa with a new washing machine that they purchased and donated to the orphanage. And here's a picture of the kids at the orphanage with the director, and they serenaded us on one of our visits there. This is usually the first visit for the project team after they get to Xicotepec, and it's a great way to start the week. Rotarians Hazel Seba and Chris Catney, who weren't Rotarians when they started out with this, but they are now. They're both retired pharmacy professors. Chris is a member of the Iowa City Club, and they work to establish this service learning project, which has involved deworming school children, and they've done that for thousands of school children. The guy you see here, Gregorio Sanchez, showed up that the first year they did this in 2007. He showed up, he and his sister, and they volunteered to help, and they have helped every year since then. Gregorio has a master's in public health. He got it from the National Institute of Public Health in Cuernavaca, and he spent several weeks or several months in Iowa City as a visiting scholar at the University of Iowa. So it's another long relationship that has come out of this project. Here's a picture of the pharmacy team in action. You can see that they have the support of students from a local nursing school. There are Xicotepec Rotarians and their family members that also help. It's a pretty well organized effort, and it takes a lot of people to carry it out. And this is in a rural preschool in a small rural village outside of Xicotepec. Dr. Steve Levy is another University of Iowa faculty member who established a program of dental hygiene. Poor dental hygiene is a real serious problem for kids in Mexico. Most of them don't see a dentist regularly. And so they have dental students, and Dr. Levy have worked with schools to check on kids' dental oral health. If they find serious problems, they refer them to a local dentist. And then they also use skits and hands-on activities to demonstrate good brushing technique and all the things that are necessary to keep your teeth in good shape. The water team is headed by Bob Main, Rotarian from Newton, and they get a lot of kidding. They get a lot of flack because it's been rumored that they don't really do much, but the fact is they do a lot, and they're very good sports about taking all the kidding. They've put in about 20 systems in schools and other public places, and these systems provide clean, safe water for the kids at the schools. This particular picture was taken at the orphanage. They are servicing an ultraviolet light that's used to purify water. They go down to Xicotepec twice a year, and they make sure that all the systems are working properly and that they're being maintained properly. And it's been a great project. Here's a picture of what a typical installation looks like. This is at a small preschool in Xicotepec. We call it the construction team, but really what it is the unskilled labor team. And there's always unskilled labor needed to paint or mix concrete or lay sod. And a lot of times it's the high school students who get to do this work, and they're awfully good at it. Here's Rotarian Michael Leary with one of his workers. They're painting some playground equipment. What else? This is a cistern that was installed at a small school in rural Xicotepec. There's Phil Peterson's in that picture. And this was a really fun and great project of putting in playground equipment and painting a mural at a foundation that supports women and children who have cancer and helps them with all kinds of things so that they can get the care that they need. Here's another construction crew that made a lot of improvements on a playground that's at a special ed school in Xicotepec. One of the really nice aspects of this project has been for young people from the United States and young people from Mexico to get to meet each other. And they find out that they have a lot in common. It's usually a lot of fun. This picture was taken at a secondary school in Xicotepec. And it's always fun to see these young people get together. Another activity that's fun and instructive, especially for young people, is to go shopping in Xicotepec for things that are needed. When you could take luggage to Mexico for free, we used to take a lot of things in our luggage, but that whole equation has changed, and so it's really makes more sense to take money to Xicotepec and buy the things there that are needed in schools or other places. The relationships that District 6000 has go far beyond the Xicotepec Rotary Club at this point. This is just one example of dozens. Tino and his wife are tailors, and they make school uniforms. And every time Tom Narrick and his wife or anybody from the West Des Moines Rotary Club goes down, they check with certain schools to see if there are families that have economic trouble to provide uniforms for their kids. Tom gets all the details. Tino and his wife make the uniforms, and the Rotary Club of Xicotepec make sure that they get to the right kids. And there are lots and lots of other relationships with schools, with the city government, with businesses in Xicotepec that, like I say, go well beyond the Rotary Club itself. The regular meeting for the Xicotepec Rotary Club is on Thursday night. And so it's toward the end of the week. And it's always a kind of an emotional meeting. Their meetings tend to go on a little longer than an hour, like 2.5, 3 hours. But this meeting is always interesting because there are always a lot of expressions of appreciation, both from Mexicans and Iowans, about the experiences that they've had during the week of the project team's trip there. And Friday night is a time to celebrate. And so there's always a Mexican fiesta on Friday night. And usually at least part of that fiesta is to spotlight some part of Mexican culture or traditions. And eat. This is a cake that was prepared, I don't know, last year or the year before. Xicotepec, the meaning of Xicotepec is the hill of the bumblebees. So bumblebees are a motif that you find all over in Xicotepec, and you can see that they're on this cake too. And that Friday night fiesta for many of the young people, Mexicans and Iowans, is the time that they say goodbye to one another. Lots of picture taking, a lot of hugging, and a lot of emotion. And one of the Mexican traditions that we always enjoy, Tom Narrick's birthday always falls during the week in Xicotepec, and one of the traditions is that everybody starts to chant, bite it, eat it, mordida, mordida. And then when you lean down to take a bite of your birthday cake, somebody pushes your face into it. And that's what happened to Tom here. So that's just a little bit about the Xicotepec project. Like I said, it was a challenge to try to sum it up after so many years. This is a picture of the central plaza of Xicotepec. You can see City Hall on the left there, the steeple of the church behind it, and all the topiary on the square. Again, I appreciate the chance to tell you a little bit about this project, and if there are any questions, maybe we have a few minutes for that.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, we've got 2 minutes for questions. Barb, can we turn it over to you to see which of our members have their hands raised?
Sure. Right now, I don't have any hands raised. So who's going to be that first one who's going to give us a question? Madeline Windauer, you are the winner.
Hi, I just wondered if you have any information about how Xicotepec has been impacted by COVID-19.
Yeah, I'm in pretty frequent contact with a number of people in Xicotepec. As of a couple of days ago, they didn't have any confirmed cases of COVID-19. I suspect they will eventually. I suspect that the numbers are underreported in a lot of places, and Mexico's no different in that respect. So it's good for now, but I guess time will tell.
One more question.
Anyone else? Nope, I don't think so. So Jim, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thanks, Barb. Just curious, Nancy or Gary Pasha, do you have any final comments on our Xicotepec presentation today? Gary, thanks for organizing this, and Jim, thanks so much for your program. Gary, anything you'd like to add, or Nancy?
Anything you want to say?
I think this is one of the most phenomenal projects in the whole wide world. It has ignited something important for a lot of young people as well as older ones. It's ignited excitement for people from Iowa and people from Mexico, and I just love the connection it's made. But most of all, I love what it's done for young people and to help them gain a mentality that some of us take a long time to establish, but they get going early, and I think that's great. Yeah.
This spoken by the career Spanish educator who has been at my side every moment that we've worked in either this project or Iowa Most in Guatemala. So it provides an opportunity for us to express ourselves and give back to the world.
I just want to say it's been a great privilege for me to be involved in this project, and it's brought a lot of new friends into my life and made it incredibly interesting. I can't imagine what I would have done these 18 years without being involved in Xicotepec.
Jim, you say something about going to Xicotepec and coming home. Can you share that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I said this to the Xicotepec Rotarians for the first time, maybe a couple of years ago. I realized that, you know, if you've ever traveled very much, you know that the best moment of any trip is that moment that you return to your home. And after so many trips to Xicotepec, I get to enjoy that moment twice on every trip. Because I return home when I go to Xicotepec, and then I return home again when I come home.
I'd like to thank you, Jim, for your program, and I'd like to thank everyone that was a part of our program today. Nancy, Gary, District Governor Moraine, again, thanks so much for your participation in our meeting and helping us feel connected to other Rotarians from across the district. Joe Venz for the positivity and gratitude segment. Tricia for helping us feel connected to all of the efforts that are taking place here locally to benefit our friends and neighbors in need. And especially Barb for organizing this meeting so we can meet in this medium. It's again, not the same as seeing all of your smiling faces, but I can't echo Ryan Bell's comments enough that next week, let's have more of our club participate and bring guests. If they just want to hear a minute of positivity, we can offer that. If they want to learn ways that they can be active in worthwhile efforts across the globe, we can offer that. And if they want to see how we can help deliver meals to some of our frontlines workers here locally in this time of need, we can offer that. And I don't know of any other groups that are doing more than Rotary is doing right now in our communities, just to pitch in and do the best we can. So invite others to join these meetings, and we'll do our best to show how worthwhile it is. With that, I'd like to have everyone join me and stand and recite the four-way test. Again, this doesn't go perfectly. We'll do the best we can. Two of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all. We are adjourned.
Have a great day, everyone.
Great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. See you next time.
Goodbye.
He must be a university person.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's a dentist.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Pretty neat.